straight up honest here. This has been hell. I can't sleep. You know, you would think in the middle of the forest it would be peace and quiet. Apparently not in these forests. I know of a spot here called Nether's Farm that has flint. It's Flint Ridge. It's a modern quarry, so you could go there, you could collect flint, and it's a $5 collecting fee plus 50 cents per pound. She has a little scale set out, a little cat that's out there usually, and you put it in an envelope, write your name, and just slide it under her door. Bring buckets. Stuff's good. So we're coming up on Nether's Farm, and the pull-off to the quarry is on the left. Careful driving on the Flint. I already popped my tire once this trip. I believe it was right here.
Your destination is on the right.
So here's the pull-off for the quarry pits. So I guess that was some Flint Ridge that I found up the camp.
Oh yeah, looks the same.
Cool. I'll take this piece. And there's some crazier colors here.
Let the fun begin.
Yeah. There's a big chunk of the black over here. So you can get a video of this. This is a quarry pit.
So here's a modern quarry pit.
I could see the big rock is right down in there. Watch yourself. Now this outer stuff, see this? Let's see if I can show you. See, it's black inside. Am I still bleeding?
I think it's your lip.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
I see the piece I'm after. I don't know if I'm gonna get it. So I've already knocked away this whole chunk here, and that's in my bucket. And I'm going after this piece here. It looks like a nice blue black. I don't know if I'll be able to get it. So there's a lot of crystal-y stuff down here, but this is the piece I want.
One of the cool things about the flint here is it's got, some pieces have these little druzy crystals. I don't know if you can see it right there, that vein. See if I can get it to sparkle for you. There you go. And just make it out. Now if you take this and polish it in like a rock tumbler or whatnot, it'll make some really, really beautiful polished stone. All kinds of color veins going through it.
Alright, now that I'm bleeding everywhere, you could see the little crystal pockets that the rock is actually not too good for flint knapping. I'm sure I could get something out of it, but I'd rather bring home the best rock I could find here. So I'm going to move on down to the next quarry pit and wipe all this blood off of me. Ow. Flint is sharp. So here at Nether's farm, the flint is all different kinds of color. The ones I'm grabbing is mostly black. I like to work darker material. But if you look along the trail here, and even up at the other quarry pit there, some of it's clear, some of it's pink, some of it's red, some of it's zebra striped. It's all different kinds of colors. I grabbed some of the zebra striped stuff. You could see the similarities in the pit location from where we were at the ancient quarries. You could see how modern people with modern tools did the same thing ancient people with ancient tools did. Except they probably did it better. Looks like more of the black. If you look, you can see it's so similar to those swimming pool pits I was talking about. It's just straight down. And I read that this particular flint vein is 10 to 12 feet deep. So it goes down deeper. I'm going to try to find different colors and get a good variety this time. So I'll be poking around in here. So, some of the giant boulders that were here in these pits when I was here last year are completely gone. So somebody, you could see there was one right there, it's just rubble now. Somebody came in and tried their best to get slabs. like this. This is what people are after. This one was thrown away, and I could see why it was thrown away. Because of this crack running through. And this one running this way. So probably the only part of this you could use is right here. That's why.
Is that crystals?
Although I'm sure Leah will want this.
Hold on, hold it still. Oh, it is all crystal. Cool. Oh, you can see inside.
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
I'm gonna knock some of it away so you could keep it.
Okay.
So over time, Flint stops looking like Flint. Even this one, you could see it's a dull, not as shiny black as, say, this. And then as it gets older and older, it starts to change, and it starts to get freeze damaged from the cold. And what happens when you have that is inside becomes all damaged and you can't use it. This will not make a good tool. So that's why a lot of people have tossed this stuff, and that's why ancient people tossed this stuff, because the top layer has freeze damage on it. If you look over here, fresh rock deeper down. So if I knock this piece off, it's going to be really fresh and really glossy. But if I take from up there, it's going to be really dull and not so good. I'll give you an example of right here. I'll see if I can knock a piece off. Just going to try to take a small piece off for you to see. I don't want to ruin this outcrop. Here's freeze damage at the top of it.
Okay.
I'll give you a little zoom in. I just knocked some of the black off, and in here is freeze damage. Or they call it a seam or a crack or whatever you want to call it. Most places that you can get flint is not like this. This is an insane amount of good flint, good chert. The landowner is kind enough to let flint knappers come on her property and quarry this themselves and just dig these pits. This was somebody's throwaway because of the crystal pocket that went straight through. But I'll still be able to use this, so I'm going to keep this one. I just took this flake off. You can keep looking around. That's it. There was another one, wasn't there? They filled it in.
Oh, they did?
And they dug one next to it.
Huh.
So this is the gray stuff. Gray blocky stuff. I think it would be cool to find a good piece of this to work into something. The problem with this stuff is it's blocky. You can see there's blocks instead of a smooth transition, it chunks off. There's a good example. And somebody lost their belt. Are they trying to haul the whole rock out with the belt? Try this piece. That's freeze damaged. That's weathered. You could see how crystally and grainy that is compared to the smoothness of some of this stuff. Let's give it a try anyway. Yeah, that's no good. Make sparks. So this is the pit here. The rock is gone. But it looked like this, and some people from the Wooded Beardsman's channel might recognize this material from his Easter egg knife giveaway. But there's not much left of this rock. So when the rock is gone, the rock is gone. That's it. It's nothing big enough for a knife of that size out of that material again.
It's all freeze damage?
Yeah.
Blocky?
Yeah. The big block of it was right there. It's gone. Remember I just took the hammer stone actually, and I hit the top and the big blade came off?
Yep.
That was the knife.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
So. Looks like the only pit with new rock in it is the one right at the entrance. Alright, I'm just going to keep testing rock and hitting on it until I find something smooth, not like this one. And I'll let you see what we finish up with when we're on our way out of here. I didn't get all too much and it got kind of late. But what I did get was pretty good. And I'm just going to bring it up to her porch, and she has a scale up there, and I'll just sign my name and pass the money under the door. I'm going to come back probably in a day or two and quarry some more. For more than 10,000 years, Flint Ridge was one of the most important flint quarries in eastern North America. So I came north into Ohio because I know of a spot here called Nether's Farm that has flint. It's Flint Ridge. It's a modern quarry, so you could go there, you could collect flint. I decided I wanted to visit the ancient quarry, which is in Flint Ridge State Park, where you can't touch anything there, don't touch anything there. I'm going to go check out the ancient quarries, and I'm about 2 minutes away, and then I'm going to head over to Nether's Farm to collect myself some Flint Ridge. So I've never been to the ancient quarry before. I don't even know which way it is, but there's a sign here. For more than 10,000 years, Flint Ridge was one of the most important flint quarries in eastern North America. The flint formed at the bottom of a shallow ocean 300 million years ago. The softer rocks surrounding the flint have washed away, leaving the hard flint exposed near the surface. Prehistoric people came here to quarry the flint, which they crafted into a variety of stone tools. Hundreds of quarry pits and workshops are scattered for miles along this ridge. Well, it looks like there's a trail over there to the museum. I'll check that out first. There's a little chipmunk in the path down to the quarry trails. There's another one right there.
There's a third one. Oh.
So here is what the flint looks like. This is right below the sign here. Flint is both hard and brittle and thus can be broken into pieces that have razor-sharp edges. For this reason, Indians as long as 9,000 years ago traveled to this ridge to secure the rock for making projectile points, knives, and scrapers. The area is now covered with hundreds of shallow pits from which flint has been quarried through the ages. The prehistoric Indians broke off chunks of flint with stone mauls or pried them out of the pit with wooden poles. They broke the chunks into usable pieces with hammerstones, as shown here, and then proceeded to chip the flint for various purposes. So along here, all these dips are quarry pits. We'll keep looking around. There's a little bit of flint right here. Probably from in there. Really cool. So we came up this trail here to this hill. And right here is some different kinds of flint. Different colors. And here is where the quarry pit is, where all these leaves are. You can't really see. Maybe if I put it down to the ground, you could see that it dips. You could tell this is not just a random dip in the woods here. That's dug out. And it's pretty big. It's hard to tell on film how big that is. Here's one. There's one over there. Here is probably another one. This one's filled with muck. Anybody watching my videos, you should never disturb an archaeological site. You should find other ways of getting flint, like I'm going to a modern quarry not too far from here called Nether's Farm, and I could very easily get flint there. Whenever you see stuff like this, do not touch it.
Appreciate it.
Just look at it and learn from it and appreciate it. It's everywhere. see all the little chips. Little tiny chips of flint. Very, very cool. There's all these deep dug out areas. They're right next to each other. There's one here, then it goes up into a ramp and into an even deeper one. I don't see any flint chips here. I mean, there's a few down here. A few little chunks. Must have taken a long time to dig that out like that. It's kind of just like they were digging like a swimming pool. So this is one of the bigger ones I've seen here. And just like modern quarries, they fill with water. This one is filled. So now it's pond. Looks like there's more way off that way, but there's no trail over there. How did they know it was here? Like, walking through here, if I was just walking through, I wouldn't know that there was flint under the ground. Like, right under the ground. And like, are we near a major water source or an even bigger hill? I don't understand how they found this stuff in the ground. I could understand finding it in rivers, but then how do you figure out where it is in the ground? The stuff here is so old. The stuff just laying here. If you look, on one side you can see it's rotting. The rock itself, this at one time was shiny and glossy, and now it's turning brittle and rotting away. There's more right here. It's just rotting into nothing. But it's so old. Thousands of years old.
So what do you think of this place?
It's old.
There's more pits ahead of us.
Yep. Getting bit. Mosquitoes.
Yeah. There's another pit. Oh, you can't really see it too well. What about?
Yeah, it's really hard to pick up pits. Maybe I'll go stand by it.
Yeah, they're big.
So there's a few chips here that still have the real shine to it. Glossy, glass-like. Now these are artifacts, so you don't touch these. But I just wanted to show you, like, you could see through that. And in comparison to something older and rotting, this is what it looks like now. So right here is looks like fresher stuff. It's way more colorful. This piece here, you'd see the pinks and the white, brown and white, and it's all scattered through here. So I guess to answer my earlier question of how did they find it up here, just walking down the trail here, and I see this shine. If you dug this out, this would be a massive boulder, but you crack that open inside and it'll be nice and smooth. Another big outcrop right here. This is all just amazing to me. This is just washing out. And each one of these was made by a person. Like, you cannot make these without knocking them off with another rock. You have to be, in order to make these flakes, every single one was made by a person. So that was really cool to see. There was a lot coming out, just washing down the hill. I'm looking for some chert in these road cuts. It says there should be some in the area. I'm not seeing any yet, but I'm gonna check the creeks running through the area as well. We'll see. So I did read a report, one man's report, of there being chert just south of a town about an hour or two near Lexington, Kentucky, and seems like there's nothing. This is part of what I do to look for flint. I just look for little hints and explore the area, and unfortunately here I don't see anything. So part of what I do is I find these, little hints of where chert might be in creeks, rivers, road cuts, and areas where I won't disturb anything important. Anything that washes out into creeks is already disturbed, so that's cool. That's cool to take. You just have, it takes a lot of work to be able to find where these washouts are, or where it would be running through a road cut and maybe falling off into the road. And you just got to be careful. You got to make sure you know the laws. Like, some laws say you can't pick up rocks. But it's a lot of detective work. It's a lot of trying to figure out where things might be, where they are. It's more difficult than you think. On to the next one. So I was hoping to find some new sources of chert, but so far I haven't found much of anything. I found a little bit of limestone, which I can work. You can work limestone. It's not as fun. It's a little more difficult, and it's not as sharp, but it is pretty sturdy. If I don't find anything new this time, I'm gonna go back to a place that I have found some really good chert. So that's where I'll probably be heading if I don't find anything. But hopefully, I find something about an hour that way. So if you're ever in Kentucky looking for flint and road cuts and creeks, be really careful. There's people let their dogs run in the street, and I've almost hit quite a few because they just bolt out. Like, I don't expect them to just bolt out like that, but there's just like free running dogs like pretty much everywhere in these little towns.
They chase the car.
And they chase the car barking, so like, you got to be careful that they don't get under your back tire. But that's happened 3 or 4 times so far. And just now I saw dogs following people on horses going into the woods. But they were in the street, and there was just this line of dogs. It was interesting. It's a little chalky. Limestone. I don't know. Looks like shale limestone. It's weird. So we're getting a little bit closer, and in these road cuts, I see a little bit of limestone, but I don't see any chert yet. It's more like siltstone, shale, little bit of limestone, and I'm not sure what that is. It's cool looking though. Anybody who's a geologist want to be friends? You can talk to me about rocks all day long. I'll never get bored. See, that boat ramp there would have been a good place to look, but I'm not going to stop because I don't see anything that looks quite like chert up in these road cuts. But you see the road cut and then you see the boat launch. Go look down in that creek, because you never know. I might have just seen a patch of flint. Maybe I'll turn around. I don't know yet. Yeah, when you see the patches of flint, it'll be like usually it'll be like the darker color than the blue surrounding it, or the light gray surrounding it, and it should be shinier. And I'm seeing what looks like little tiny patches, but nothing worth stopping for just yet. Huh. That seems dangerous. So the main spot was no good, totally overgrown. I can't really get up there. But I am seeing some very old, what looks like chert. Nothing I would consider good. It's more shale-like than anything. If you look right here, there's, well, yeah, it's shale-like. I mean, that's nothing I would take. Alright. Maybe on the other side it's more pure. I don't know, I can't get up there right now. Oh well. Alright, so to explain that a little bit better, it looked like it was at one time good chert. Over time, when it gets weathered, it turns more shale-like and it starts to fall apart, like I showed you. Maybe on the other side at the top there might be some really good stuff, but there's no way up there right now. Maybe during the winter I would be able to climb up there, but right now it doesn't look too good. I went down to the riverfront to see if there was any rocks on the shore, but it was a very deep river and I didn't see any rocks at all, so I guess we'll just continue on. And I'm not really seeing anything, so that report may have been false. I'll check back again in winter and maybe get up top and see if there's anything at all, but it does not look like it. So one of the things I've been thinking about in looking for chert like this and reading geology reports and them saying, yes, there is high quality chert up here, and me going and looking and seeing that it's very old, very weathered, and not good for flint knapping at all. What I'm reading is coming from a geologist's perspective, and they aren't really looking at it from a flint knapping point of view. Whereas when I'm going to look, I'm looking for the shiny, glassy chert, or something that fractures in a conchoidal way. Yeah, outwards like that. And in some of this stuff, I look at it and it is chert, or it was chert. In my not geology opinion, not a geologist opinion, at one time it was chert. That's the way I think of it. Like, at one time it was knappable. Now it's just falls apart into dust if you drop it on the ground, like you saw in my video. And that's the problem I keep having. Fallen rock zone. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe there's some fallen rock that is flint. I doubt it, but maybe. One of the things that I really enjoy about this is I love exploring new places, and I love just adventuring. So I just got to see all those really cool cut-throughs. There's more coming. And I'm just in Kentucky. I've never been here before. And I'm just driving straight through to try to see if I could find anything. I'm also getting to see historic sites, and they seem to have a lot of markers around. I might have just saw some, so I made a U-turn. I'm not sure. Maybe. This is a pretty steep hill. I think I saw a spot to pull off, so if there is a spot to pull off, I'll go look. Alright, so I drove around a little bit more, and I found it. Problem being, it's about 90 feet up in the air. You need some mountain climbing gear, and it's about that big. It's pieces in a line about that thick. So that's a bust. That
It was pink.
it was pink. I've not seen much pink Flint chert. That was pretty cool. But it was grainy, and like there's like I was saying, the geologists don't know, like when we're asking for chert, it's got to be solid, glassy. It can't be freeze damaged. It can't be crumbling into dust. But yes, that was chert. I wasn't able to get any video of it because, like I said, you need some mountain scaling gear, ropes and claws and grappling hooks and stuff like that, which, you know, I'm not gonna do just to look at something this small.
If we see any more, we'll video it. There's some.
Yeah, it's right up there. It looks like little bricks.
Yeah.
Like little bricks going along the side of the highway. But it's not what I would consider a Flint Napper's chert.
There's a rest area coming up. Let's stop and see if there's another rock face there.
Yeah, it says there's a rest area coming up in about a mile. I'll stop there and see if there's any more rock faces that maybe I can record to show you guys what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because there it is again. So there is a vein going this way.
I have a friend in Ireland who's trying very hard to find Flint, and he's having a rough time. So I figured while I was out, I would show how I go about doing this at least. And then, you know, once you do find that Flint in the walls, look in the creeks nearby. But in this case, you're going to find pieces this big that you really can't do too much with. So, hit and miss. Alright, so the speed limit is 70 here, and I can't really get the camera focused on the chert going past it 70 miles per hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to splice in a picture of what the geologist had posted in his report. There is a picture of it. I don't seem to see any more, so we might be past the area that was in. But it was only about this thick and kind of looked like brick, like just brick in the geological layer. So, Eastern Kentucky was kind of a spur of the moment idea. Let me try to find some chert in Kentucky, because that would be awesome. There were a couple areas, most of them I couldn't get to. Some areas were flooded out with the recent storm, and other areas it's private property, off limits. A lot of the rivers were really high, so I couldn't see any rock at all in the rivers. Same thing with the creeks. They were flowing fast and very muddy, so you couldn't see any of the lithic material in the water. Maybe another time when I come through, it might be easier to find stuff here. I know there's stuff here, but I'm gonna head into Ohio, where I know exactly where to get some chert. And that I'll show you. Alright, so we're going to a campsite on the Ohio River in Ohio, and hopefully it's good. So I'm just going to drive and be on the lookout for anything interesting at all, not just Flint. And if I see anything interesting, I'll record it and tell you about it. And, I don't know, maybe a dead deer, maybe a wild pig, maybe a rampaging elephant, maybe a kangaroo. I saw a kangaroo on an island once. I'm not kidding. In Rhode Island, off the coast, on a little island called Block Island, there was a kangaroo. And a camel. And I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Look it up. Look it up. Nope. Nope. Shale. Nope. 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 We are crossing the Ohio River, and up ahead is the Kentucky-Ohio border. So out of Kentucky and Ohio.
In a quarter mile, slight left onto US 52 West.
And a slight left onto 52 West. So we stopped to just cook up some potatoes. And I look over here. And that's Flint. I just randomly found Flint at a fire pit in Ohio. The hell?
Is it good?
Yeah.
Test it.
Not sure what kind of flint this is. Might be like basalt, I don't know. I don't know of anything that's black like this around here. But I'm gonna test it.
Ooh.
That's Flint. Do one more. Yeah,
That looks nice.
that's good Flint. Huh. So, this is what good Flint looks like. There's no arced edges or anything, so this is not an artifact. This piece right here you could easily turn into an arrowhead. I have no idea what kind of flint this is. I'll have to look into it. So the value biscuit is like super salty, super thick bacon. I'm not eating that. Sodium nitrate, and salt. No. So the GPS took me on an OHV road that apparently I needed a helmet for. The GPS took me down that. So yeah, be careful of that. Didn't get the tent up in time. Here in Kentucky too. Luckily this time I'm up on a hill instead of down in a creek valley. Guess I'm gonna sit in the car for a while. Seems like it's easing up a little bit. It looks like it's all around me. I'm looking at the I do have signal here. I'm looking at the radar there, and it's all around me. So I saw like 6 squirrels go running for cover. So I just wanted to test this rhyolite point that I made. Cut right through the sinew. But I just wanted to test how strong it was. Seems pretty strong. How the hell am I going to get that out of there? I fired it from a 70-pound bow at about 5 yards. Maybe I'll give it one more shot. So I tried regrinding the edges here to make them a little more dull so they don't cut through the sinew. I'm going to put it right back in now. Alright, so I'm going to test the strength of this stone. It's rhyolite from North Carolina. And I'm just, it's not dried completely yet, but I'm just testing the strength. So I'm going to hit right into that tree. Just want to see if the stone itself holds together. Alright, let's see how it did. That's in there. So this is the kind of stuff I like to work. If this was obsidian, this would be in 1,000 pieces. There's not even damage. Alright, so what happened here was I didn't let it dry all the way. So it just kind of slipped out. But if I'd let this dry all the way, it would have stayed in. It didn't damage the arrow at all. And I fired this twice now into a tree. But it's still perfect.
Continue 1.3 miles, then turn left on Highway 89.
Not listening to you anymore. I'm here at Morrow Mountain State Park. The land and waters of Morrow Mountain have been a focal point of human activity for thousands of years. Discover our rich natural and cultural history. This is a protected archaeological site. Apparently a very important one. I'm at Morrow Mountain State Park, and there's a little museum here. It's about 94 degrees. It's really hot today, and the lizards are seeking shade. There's one right there. Right here is Morrow Mountain. And I've been camping somewhere in there. At least 10,000 years ago, American Indians discovered abundant resources in the Uwharrie Mountains. Trekking herds and hunting large game, these early North Carolinians found the local rock known as rhyolite was perfect for crafting tools and spear points. Their way of life changed, and small game hunting and fishing led to more sophisticated tool making. Points and spearheads made from Morrow Mountain rhyolite have appeared up and down the East Coast, indicating this area was a major contributor to regional American Indian culture. Remnants of this sharp stone remain today at the prehistoric quarry at the top of Morrow Mountain. This is rhyolite here. You could see it's smooth. It's better for making tools than this would have been. This is coarse, so you want to look for the smooth stuff. Rhyolite was formed hundreds of millions of years ago by a thick magma that cooled and hardened. Once buried as a result of movements in the Earth's crust, it was exposed by erosion over hundreds of millions of years. Some displays here. Let's see what they got. It says flint knapping is the name of the process for making flaked or chipped stone tools. This technology was used to create spear, dart points, arrowheads, knives, scrapers, blades, and other useful items. The best rock for making tool is somewhat brittle and uniform in texture and structure, like the rhyolite found on Morrow Mountain. Rhyolite, when struck with a rock, piece of antler, or bone, will fracture or break in a characteristic pattern called a conchoidal fracture. This rock fragment is called a flake. The making of a stone tool begins with a piece of raw material called a core. Flakes are removed by striking the edge of the core with a sharp, forceful blow in what is called percussion flaking. Hard hammer stones of basalt or soft hammers made out of an antler were used to create the flakes. A stone flake has features that identify it as a work of human hands rather than the result of a natural process. The edges being worked must be ground dull with a piece of sandstone rock prior to flake removal. This is the dulling that helps prevent edge collapse. Soft hammers were used because they allow greater control of the flaking. Soft hammers do not pass as much energy to the core and will absorb some of the force. Not all the time, sometimes it explodes in your hand. The napper applies downward and outward pressure to snap off a flake. This method can straighten and sharpen the edges of a finished tool or shape a tool from flake to final form. So, spall, edged piece, pre-form, final arrowhead or spear point. They got more, this is Paleo-Indian era. So these are the foreshafts with the spearheads on them. That black stuff is pine pitch wrapped with probably deer sinew. End scrapers and side scrapers were mostly used to scrape flesh from hides. Side scrapers were used for a variety of purposes, including skinning, scraping, and cutting of meat and skin. They were also used in bone and woodworking. Scrapers were often crude but effective tools. The term paleo means old or ancient. It is used to refer to the first people that came to this area at least 12,000 years ago. Paleo Indians lived in an environment that was much different than that of today. The weather was cooler and large animals such as mastodons, mammoths, ground sloths, giant bison roamed the forest and grasslands. Smaller mammals such as buffalo, bear, moose, elk also lived in the area but are now extinct here. Not too far away at Cherokee Forest, they reintroduced elk. Paleo Indians used heavy spears to hunt large prey such as mastodon and giant bison. Smaller animals were also hunted. Paleo Indians gathered nuts, berries, and other plants for food. They moved often to take advantage of seasonal sources of food, much like their descendants during the Archaic period that followed. Relatively little is known about these first people of North Carolina, as artifacts from this period are scarce. Their nomadic way of life and small populations made it difficult to find sites they once occupied and to find artifacts associated with them. And this is more spear points. It's going to be difficult to see. That's a really well polished celt. It's pretty much an axe. This would have been an arrow, but an incredibly short one. That wouldn't work very well. Whoever made that. Take a little look down the trail here. It's a good place to come and look and learn and as you can see, that's all rhyolite. But you're not allowed to pick up or take anything from any state parks. But it's really cool to look at. Lots of people around having a good time. It's a really beautiful place. Just have to look out for rattlesnakes. I like to rest in the sun on trails like this. This is an archaeological site and it is protected. It is against the law to pick up any rock, any mineral, or anything like any of this. It would be completely unethical to touch any of it because this is what ancient people worked with. And it has not all been studied. There is more to learn. People don't realize that there is more to learn. In North Carolina here, not much is known about the Paleo-Indian period. And I could guarantee you that if an archaeologist came here and did a study, that they would find evidence. I've had people say to me that there's nothing left to be learned by archaeologists. And looking at all this, I would have to say I completely disagree with you. And I'm glad this place is protected. People for thousands of years sitting here quarrying this stuff. And it's all over the place. So cool. Walking on history here. So my first night, we got in kind of late, and we pulled into a pretty dark campsite. I saw other tents were set up, and all of a sudden I saw some movement around my driver's side window, and I had all the lights off, so I put the headlights on, and I'm still sitting in the car. We had just gotten there. We were starting to move stuff around to be ready to set up camp. And I just see this dark shadow move past. So I put the lights on, and I put on the brake, and I looked behind me, and I just saw a tail, fluffy tail go past. So I said to Leah, who was sitting next to me, "Take a look behind you and let me know what you see." And I hit on the brake, and she lets out a yell, and she's like, "Oh my God, it's a random poodle in the woods." So I thought it was like a coyote or something like that, but it was some kind of black lab poodle mix just sniffing around my car, and one of the other campers must have let their dog off the leash for a little bit at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. So after the Morrow Mountain trip there, we went back to Uwharrie Forest, and I was looking around for some rhyolite and chert in the creeks, and I didn't really find too much. I did find a few pieces, and tried to make some tools out of those. I'm gonna try some more probably later today. But at Uwharrie Forest, they had the primitive dispersed roadside camping, and hiking trails, off-road vehicle trails. They had a big lake. They had creeks everywhere. There was, people fishing. There was people on boats in the lake, and just in exploring the forest, we came to one of the primitive campsites with a fire ring right in the middle. And I backed my car in, backed my SUV in, and I got out and I realized there was shards of flint sticking out of the ground. So I get out of the SUV and I'm setting up camp, and I'm looking around, and there's evidence of people making stone tools there. There's flakes, there's little knives, there's little hide scrapers, there's just tools everywhere at this campsite. I pulled in here, and right here was a bunch of flakes for cutting and skinning. And here's where we were cooking. And all around there was skinning tools. And over here where Leah was sitting, I started to notice some hide scraping tools. So here's the fire pit, and all of these are tools. Like, here's a knife. That's a knife. There's little, scrapers everywhere. And just look, it just goes and goes. And we're literally sitting on these tools. And I was like, wow, this, why does nobody see this? Well, anyway, I plan to do some primitive camping and, look for the chert. So I figured around this camp would be a good place. I was like, okay, down at the creek there might be flint in the creek, and that's why there's tool making material right here. Maybe they were making harpoons for hunting, maybe they were making harpoons for fishing and spears for hunting. So I set up the tent, backed the car in, and made some food. Was having a little bit of a problem getting comfortable because of my my thyroid issue. One of them with the medication. Because I'm hyperthyroid, I have a heat intolerance. I feel like I can't breathe. So I went from cold of Connecticut, it was like 50 here, to 97 degrees within a few hours. I was having trouble setting up camp. I was having trouble being comfortable. I did have a little portable fan with me, just in case that would happen. I expected that was going to happen, but I didn't think it was going to be that bad. So once I finally did fall asleep, all of a sudden I hear ton of off-road vehicles, and they came right into my camp, and they put their brights on my tent, and they're just yelling, "Oh, there's somebody here, there's somebody here." And I was like, what the hell? Yeah, there's somebody here. Don't shine your freaking lights into my tent and start yelling. And they stayed there for about 5 minutes. And then they drove off, but then they were looping all night long, the rest of the night, all night long. 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. The next day I was like, alright, I don't want to be near the off-road trail because I couldn't sleep. So I get up and I start packing up camp. And I get into my SUV, I turn the ignition, and I look and I see the tire light is on. I get out, and I look, and I have a flat tire. I'm like, what the hell? So we went down the road, and there was a gas station with an air pump, and I just filled the tire. And I went to the shop. Drove all the way to the shop. On the drive out of town, saw some signs and stuff and some papers that said, Bigfoot, legends of sightings. Look at the tracks. And so as we were driving out of the forest, there was a guy walking with Bigfoot feet, and he was just stomping. And he was stomping, making the impressions. So I thought that was amusing. And it was, you know, just down one of the forest roads. You're just walking with these Bigfoot feet, making trails. I didn't think to video that because I was in the middle of trying to get my tire fixed, and I was like, what am I gonna do? I didn't want to get stuck in the woods with no signal and just be on a forest road with off-road vehicles flying down it, so I just wanted to get out of there. We went to Walmart Auto to repair it. Waited around for about an hour, and they only charged me $10 to fix it. So that was cool. Only $10 to plug the tire, and they told me that something must have stabbed into the tire and popped it, because there was nothing stuck in there, just stabbed. So I was like, it was the Flint. It was the Flint at the campsite. While we were waiting, it was so hot that our shoes were melting to the pavement, to the blacktop in the parking lot. So it was just too hot. Like with my thyroid issue and all, and the heat intolerance, I felt like I couldn't breathe. So I wanted to head up north into the mountains just a little bit. The other thing I really wanted to do at Uwharrie Forest was hold a gathering and you know, teach some people how to do flint knapping and how to make stone tools, how to make stone weapons, how to make arrows, and just, you know, teach some people, maybe like $10-20 a person. And I just couldn't do it. It was too hot. So I'm looking to do something up north more. You know, I got to get this this thyroid thing figured out. I can't be so high on the medication. I can't be at such a high level of medication because it makes me out of breath. It makes me not able to do hard work and not able to tolerate heat at all. Like at all. Like I can't breathe. I feel like I gotta go to the hospital. And I guess that's a common thing with this condition that I have, hyperthyroidism. Well, it's actually, I had my thyroid taken out, and so technically I'm hypothyroid, but with the medication they give me, it keeps me hyperthyroid, which means high thyroid, and that gives a lot of like a high pulse, out of breath feeling, ringing in your ears, nausea, all kinds of crazy symptoms. But I'm figuring it out. I've lowered my dose, and a lot of the symptoms went away, but now I still have the heat intolerance, and that I can't seem to figure out. So I'll talk to the doctor more and I'll see what he has to say about it. But I suspect that I have to be lowered more. And then, you know, I'm doing my thing. I'm doing okay. I'm alright. I'm good. Found this little primitive campsite on a lake with the mountains. This is night 5 now. And I've been to this campsite before last year. And I really enjoyed it. It's really quiet. It's on this beautiful lake. There's mountains with clouds right over there. There's maybe one house out that way. And there's a small highway behind me. I don't know if you could hear some cars coming through, but there's not really many people in this area at all. There's a couple people coming through on boats just every so often. It's really quiet. It's kind of remote, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I think in a little bit that I'm going to maybe do some flint knapping. It's been storming all day. It's been raining, thundering, lightning. It's still raining, but I think I'm going to do some flint knapping before it gets too dark to do anything, because I've been really wanting to do something. Besides go to repair places. This is where I'm camping. There's some storming going on right now. But I just finished, napping up an arrowhead. And I'll show you what that looks like. But man, the scenery. I have this arrow shaft carved out. Now what I'm gonna do, just put this as snug in there as I can. Make sure it's straight. This footage is gonna be a little shaky because there's a bit of a storm going on. But my feathers are kind of wet. I'm chewing some moose sinew. And I'm not going to use any glue at all. And I'm just going to wrap that. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done with it, because I'm recording this with my hand. Now usually I'll do these a little deeper and a little thinner of a point, but this one's a replication. This would have actually been a spear point. But it'll fly, and it'll kill an animal. I just wrapped it with no glue. Trying to get some good light for you here so you can see there you go. Now these here, I took very big flakes off to thin it. Then on the other side, I took really little flakes to sharpen it. And you could see little tiny shots of rock taken off. And on this side, bigger shots of rock taken off. Now it is just a replication, but if you have a high-powered bow, this'll work. This'll definitely work. It's on bamboo. Like I said, it's a little wet. It's not going to dry for a while. Man, if you ever get bored during a thunderstorm on a mountain, on a lake, do some flint napping. Make an arrow. And go hunt. I did find some nodules of flint. I believe it's a type of rhyolite in North Carolina here. I did some research and I found that there was flint in the creeks in Uwharrie Forest. And I got really excited because I've been looking for a fairly local source of flint that I could just, unlimited, without damaging anything, without messing up any archaeological sites, without, completely being ethical, just take it out of a creek or a river where it's, rocks like this. So I get down there and I found one and I busted it open and it's junk. It's some of the toughest stuff I've ever worked, and I work some pretty tough stuff. This is a New York chert. This stuff is considered very tough, and I've been working this for a long time. Now, this stuff in Uwharrie is it's very coarse. It's very, you can make cutting tools with it, but you can't do. From the little bit I experimented with it, I did not like it. I wasn't able to get too much rhyolite. The stuff that I did get, I got maybe small pieces like that were decent. Everything else was garbage. I couldn't use it. So luckily I brought a little bit of flint with me. The New York stuff. One of the things about Pisgah was, I did a road trip last year very similar to this, without the hunting. I was just looking for stone tool, stuff to be able to craft stone tools. And we were in a bit of rain then too, and came into a campsite at night, and I couldn't see, and I immediately started sliding in the mud. So I'm sliding past the campsite, and there's a raging river right here. So luckily the car stopped right at the edge, and I had no signal. So Leah runs out into the road because she sees somebody driving past with kayaks. Now this is again like 2 o'clock in the morning. There were people luckily setting up to go downriver in the morning, and they were dropping off their kayaks. So these two nice guys got out of the car and helped pull and push my car out of the mud and stopped it from falling in the river. So after that, and just remembering that and thinking about these roads in Pisgah Forest and hearing these storms coming in, and I talked to a ranger who said there's, flash floods and some spots are dangerous. I was like, okay, I'm going to go somewhere where there is not horrible dirt forest roads. Came to a lake here on a mountain near the Tennessee border because my original plan was to go to Tennessee with flint that I found myself, nap out some arrowheads, put together some arrows, and go and hunt. Now, in Tennessee, they have, I believe it's year-round feral swine, groundhogs, and they have an early spring squirrel season. So I'm gonna hit the early spring squirrel season. See if I could get a squirrel with a flint-tipped bamboo arrow with turkey fletchings. And it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I'm finally well enough to be out here. And we'll see. I'm going to ride this out for, I think it's going to be 4 or 5 days. I'll stick around here for 4 or 5 days. And then head into Tennessee and get my hunting license. And we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I'll be able to record a squirrel kill for you. And you'll be able to see how I do that with primitive technology. I'll get back to you. So I'm going to give you a little tip. Fire pit's soaking wet. I have a little bit of probably dry wood under the tarp. So if you ever camp and it starts raining, throw your tarp on top of your firewood. The other thing you could do is if you want to start a fire quickly, you look for a pine tree and you look for this. Now that's called, that's pine sap. And if you look at it, it's very sticky. Now I'll show you a little trick with this. If you come over to the fire pit and you look in, it's soaking wet. So what you do is you find some of this pine pitch. This has been getting rained on for hours now. So if you have dry stuff under the tarp and you have some pine pitch, it might be slightly damp, but the pine pitch should light enough to help you get that fire started. We're heading to the Tennessee border for the hunting license and a spot to camp. Jesus. So we're at an elevation of 4,000 feet right now. And these roads are not anywhere near as bad as Pisgah. But when we're coming down the hills, well, down the mountain, I should say, the gravel is not very steady. And I feel like I'm slipping a little bit, and you're not going to be able to see it on camera, but to the right is huge cliffs. And it's making me quite a bit nervous to be driving on this road. I'm going to stay as close as I can to the left as possible.
Turn right on North River Road.
What? See, if you look at the tire tracks, somebody came through here before. It looks like they were sliding. It's kind of muddy. Well, that's the Tennessee border. We're pretty high up. So about to cross in now. Looks like Tennessee. Sounds like Tennessee. Okay, you ready? As soon as we pass this sign. Aha! Tennessee! Hello, Tennessee. Hey, better watch out, squirrels. Where are the squirrels? Where are you? So it's been about 45 minutes on this road so far, and I think I probably got about 45 minutes more to the campsites, and then it's like an hour past that to town. So this really is middle of nowhere. Sudden change to paved road. So weird. So normally I wouldn't have been concerned about the dirt road, but I was on a 4,000 foot cliff there. I was on the side of a mountain and the car was sliding in the mud. This is a lot better. There's no cliff over here though. I seem to be driving right over top of the mountain now. Still at elevation 3,370. So still pretty high up.
There's waterfalls everywhere. Uh-oh. What is that?
And I don't know what that sound is. So apparently my brakes didn't handle that very well. Alright. We'll have to see what's up with that now. It's just screeching and grinding. These are brand new brake pads. I had some installed right before I left. So hopefully it's just some sand or gravel stuck in the pad or something. Okay, so I threw some water on the brake pad because I thought maybe there was some sand stuck in there, and it instantly boiled the water. I drove a little bit more, kept up with that grinding, squealing sound. Just heard a little tiny bit more just now, and then it stopped. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that maybe it was just some grit stuck in the brake pad. But that brake pad was so hot that it boiled the water instantly when I threw it on it. Okay, it's been about 5 more minutes, and the noise has not come back. So I'm pretty relieved about that, but I'm not getting my hopes up too soon here. We got about 6 more miles till the campsites start. Supposedly, hopefully. If not, it's an hour drive from here to town on this road. I'm still hearing some strange noises. Alright, we'll see. We made it to the first one. Okay, I'm pulling in here to check things over. I'll get back. Oh. Now, just to make things clear here, I'm in a packed SUV with a lot of weight to it. This is not an off-road vehicle. And there's just along this whole road, let me disconnect you for a second here. There's campsites right on the water. It's pretty amazing. It's beautiful here. And it's marked as a campsite. I'm gonna pull up to this so you can see. This is campsite number 8, North River. And you can only camp where it has that little tent sign.
Oh, there's the sign over here. Well, hold on, I'm gonna go read it.
Yeah, bring this over there. All right, so it's been a while now, and that sound has not come back. So I think for whatever reason, the spirits are trying to scare the shit out of me. Yeah, different noises, sounds like things are flying off my car, and I don't know what the hell's going on. It says, this is the location of the old Haw Knob Baptist Church, where many souls were saved. Pastor Reverend Bud Hamilton, erected by Hob Plemons. And there's not even I don't see any foundation or anything. Right across from campsite number 7, North River. 3 more miles to go. There is some kind of bee on my windshield. Go away, bee. So I pulled into the North River checking station. Some activity up there, but this is a cool little stop point. They have some reading material here. What to do if you encounter a bear. Map. More info. Family campground. There's a fireplace here. And a fan. Cherokee Forest, rules for forest visitors. Yeah. So look at this. Bats of the southern Appalachians. The big brown bat, the little brown bat, the Indiana bat, the northern bat, the eastern small-footed bat, the tricolored bat, and the eastern red bat. A lot of bats. And they have a garden here. And a bathroom over there. Really, really cool. We're just trying to outrun the storm. We want some decent weather so that I can hunt in peace and have some nice, relaxing, warm weather. There's a tropical storm coming up, apparently. And hopefully that's being... I can't really see the weather, I can't see the news, so I'm just getting bits and pieces, but if it is a tropical storm coming up, hopefully it's being broken up by the mountains.
Continue 0.7 miles to north 35.31882 degree W 84.13820 degrees on left.
Did you get that?
Oh, that's
Okay.
the campsite.
Apparently, and hopefully, the storm is being broken up by the mountains. And we'll see. There's sun over there, but behind us is very, very dark looking, stormy weather. So we decided on the campsite across from the old Hoana Baptist Church, where many souls were saved. We drove around for a while looking for something suitable. We got the tent put up. Leah bought a little solar light. So we'll see how that works. And there's water access right there. And Leah is cooking. What you got?
Quinoa.
Cool.
Let's get a sip. Struggle with it.
Seems pretty peaceful. I'll get my fishing license too. There's trout in there. That is Leah. Hi, Leah. Say hi.
Hey!
That's Leah. Right next to where we set up the little light post is a rock, and on this side is a carving. It says 1962, and then two symbols. Show off your little spice packets. Come on. So bead cases from Michael's turned into spice holders.
All the spices.
Cayenne? Got cayenne in there?
Cayenne.
Yeah, okay. So we got quinoa, mushrooms, habanero, tomatoes, tomato paste, and all natural, gluten-free, no GMO, Melinda's original habanero pepper sauce. Extra hot. What else has it got? Oh, it's also got some sweet pepper in it. Little bits. And green chili. It's really good. Check it out.
Tastes better than it looks. Okay.
So everything so far in Tennessee has been way cheaper than back home in Connecticut. I have no idea what a value biscuit is. It says it's Tennessee River Smokehouse Value Biscuit Country Ham. $1. Value biscuit. Going to try it. I have no idea. I have no idea. It lists sodium nitrate twice. And salt. So, yeah, I don't know. I wanted to show you guys something. I made this walking stick when I was really sick, and I've been walking with it pretty much everywhere. I bring it everywhere with me, and I've been getting these little tags for it. I forget what they're called. And I don't have all of them on here yet. But as I go along, I've been collecting them. I made a little modification to it. I just made a foreshaft and put it into there. One of the things I like about this is I tie the foreshaft around the walking stick, pretty much so that this is covered and you're just walking with this pointing down so you're safe. You have a walking stick, which is sturdy and good, and then if you need this added protection, you just pop it in, and then you have a spear that has like a 7-foot reach. And then if you don't need it, you just pop it back out and you have a walking stick. Tie it back on and you're good to go hike. If you like these kind of things, I make them. I'm gonna be straight up honest here. This has been hell. I can't sleep. You know, you would think in the middle of the forest it would be peace and quiet. Apparently not in these forests. I'm trying to find a good campsite. And she just wants to sit still. And I do too, but I wanna make sure we're not drowning in mud. Or being eaten by a maniac bear, aggressive bear. I really don't want to upload a bunch of videos of bitching about campsites, but I think people should know what they're getting into. You gotta be really prepared. This shit is no joke. This is why we keep moving. This does not look good. Guess we'll see, huh? Take a quick video here. There's a lot of people around. This is really cool. Stormy there. Right here is blue sky. Which way is it moving? So, last night, in Cherokee Forest last night, at that campsite across from the old church, I started to hear the water pick up. I started to hear it move faster. Then, after that, it started to rain real heavy, real fast. So I got up and I told Leah, get up, we gotta go. I don't trust this spot. There's a flash flood warning sign right there. So we packed up as quick as we could. I was completely soaked. Everything in the back is soaked. And we're on our way out of the forest. And what seems to be the only way out of the forest, a tree falls down and blocks the exit out. So I'm like, okay, I might be able to squeeze the SUV through this. It fell down. Then I hear the rushing river off a cliff in the pitch black, and I look up on the hilltop from where the tree fell, and it's just resting in a mudslide. And there's more leaning. So I'm like, okay, maybe I could saw a branch and drive through. Probably if I would have tried to saw that branch, the tree would have fell on me. So I turned around very carefully because there's mudslides, the road is dirt, pouring, and let me try that again. It's freaking pouring, and I had to inch back and forth very carefully. So after turning around at that tree that fell down in the mud, we did manage to find another way out of the forest. It was off a side road and then went to a paved road. Saw quite a few animals on the way out though, that was cool. Saw a little tiny owl, he was about this big. A fox. Some kind of weasel. I don't know if it was a long-tailed weasel or if it was a mink. I don't know, it was too fast. And couldn't find anywhere to go that wasn't destroyed by rain. It's all dirt roads, and I don't have an off-road vehicle. I don't have tires that are suitable for that. So then after that, I just drove in a random chaotic pattern until I could get my head straight, because I was actually really pissed that everything I keep trying is not working. So I pulled into a Walmart parking lot at 5 a.m., fell asleep in the driver's seat for a little bit, then I crawled in the back and passed out till about 10 o'clock this morning. I woke up and I said, screw this area. I've tried enough here, it's not working. I'm a little concerned about all these storms and flash floods. So I'm like, driving to Kentucky. So I'm gonna go look for Flint in Kentucky. Something doesn't want me here. I'm heading that way. I talked to the ranger at the last park, and she told me there's flash flood danger, and that there's horrible storms coming in, be really careful. And if, you know, I know if you hear water speed up and it starts pouring, that there is a possibility of a flash flood. So where I left, apparently there were, in the area were flash flood, like right after I left, apparently. It seems that I can hunt in Kentucky, but I can't get a clear answer. I can't really see on the website. I'm going to stop in at an office or something. There's still a lot of thunderstorms in the area. Right now it's sunny, it's 77 degrees. But I'm still going to try. I'm still going to try to do this. It's just been one thing after another, and so I don't know if I mentioned, you know, one of our first camps, we see a bear warning. And I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, bear. So we were really careful in cooking, you know, the normal standard be bear aware thing. And I just happened to get signal, and I punched in the campsite to see the reviews. And apparently there's a very aggressive bear in the area, and nobody camps there.
Only at that campsite?
Only at that one campsite. And all the other campsites were filled, except for the one with the aggressive bear. And I was pretty sure I found the bear den. It was right where I was collecting some fallen wood. So the signal popped in after dark, and we already established camp, we already set everything up. Then I find out there's a maniac bear on the loose, and that nobody wants to camp there, and it's camp at your own risk, danger. I'm gonna be straight up honest here. This has been hell. I can't sleep. I can't rest. I can't sleep. I have to find, you know, you would think in the middle of the forest it would be peace and quiet. Apparently not in these forests. In the past, in, you know, other experiences, other forests, yes, it's peace and quiet, and it's...
Well, even the last time we went through, it was amazing. It's just, for some reason, this trip is not...
And she could back me up. She hasn't slept. I haven't slept. Trying to find a good campsite. And she just wants to sit still. And I do too, but I want to make sure we're not drowning in mud. Or being eaten by a maniac bear. Aggressive bear.
Yeah, aggressive bear.
That apparently nobody takes care of. So,
oh my god. He's coming.
you hear him calling? Did you hear him calling?